You're now listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.
Hello, Colorado. This is the Week in Review podcast for July 8th through the 12th. If you'd like the show notes with links to the stories we're covering today, please visit engagetherockies.com and sign up to our email. Every Friday, we'll send you the list of articles when a new episode is released. From around the state, rival factions of the Colorado Republican Party have scheduled separate meetings a week apart in different corners of the state later this month to consider whether to remove Dave Williams as the state party's chairman, though the meeting set by Williams' allies is only planned to last long enough to gavel in and then immediately recess. Leaders of both groups accuse the others of staging illegal and fraudulent meetings and what they characterize as attempts to hijack the state Republican Party for their own gain, even as GOP candidates are left scrambling to prepare for a crucial election just months away. Organizers of a long-simmering move to oust Williams from the party position said Monday that they'll convene on July 27th at a church in Brighton, where the agenda could also include votes to oust Williams loyalists from their state vice chair and secretary positions before electing replacements for all three party bosses. Todd Watkins, the El Paso County GOP's vice chair, said he issued a formal call for a meeting of the Colorado Party's Central Committee after Williams and other state GOP officers failed to comply with a petition that he submitted late last month, demanding that they schedule a meeting within 30 days to consider removing Williams. Instead, Hope Scheppelman, the state GOP's vice chair, scheduled an extremely brief meeting of the Central Committee for July 19th at a municipal park in Bayfield, a small town in southwestern Colorado near the New Mexico border, but advised Republicans that they didn't need to attend because no business would be conducted. Moving on. Colorado lawmakers, officials, and industry experts met for the first time on Tuesday to take a closer look at cell phone coverage across the state. The newly formed Cell Phone Connectivity Interim Study Committee is a bipartisan committee charged with studying cell phone connectivity in the state with a focus on identifying gaps in coverage, particularly in rural areas and historically underserved communities. Gaps in cellular connectivity first came to light during the pandemic when many residents made the shift to remote working and learning. Areas of study include major roadways, mountain passes and popular trailheads, rural communities, historically disadvantaged communities, examining whether maps provided by cell phone companies accurately describe coverage areas and determining existing state tools and resources that may be leveraged to improve connectivity throughout the state. The 12-member committee is comprised of 6 voting members from the General Assembly and 6 non-voting members. Moving on. A legislative ethics panel found that Senator Faith Winter failed to uphold Senate ethics standards when she appeared intoxicated at a North Glen City Council meeting on April 3rd. But the committee decided against recommending a reprimand, censure, or expulsion. Instead, the panel requested that Senate President Steve Fenberg prepare and deliver a letter to Winter admonishing her behavior on April 3rd and encouraging her to continue treatment for substance abuse. Following a 90-minute executive session on Monday, the 5-member Colorado Senate Committee on Ethics voted 4-1 that Winter violated Rule 41, which requires Winter, as a member of the Senate, to perform her legislative duties at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and independence of the Senate and of the General Assembly. Senator James Coleman, a Denver Democrat, offered the only no vote. While committee members largely agreed that Winter's behavior was questionable, they disagreed over whether it merited the full gamut of disciplinary measures available. In addition to a letter admonishing Winter, the ethics panel decided that she will be invited to speak to the body about her behavior in the upcoming session in January. Moving on. Republican Greg Lopez was sworn in as a congressman Monday to represent Colorado's 4th congressional district after winning a special election to complete the 6 months remaining in former U.S. Rep. Ken Buck's term. After House Speaker Mike Johnson administered the oath of office, Lopez addressed fellow lawmakers on the House floor, noting that he would only serve until the next Congress takes office in January. The 60-year-old Lopez defeated Democrat Tricia Calvarisi in Colorado's June 25th special election, only the second election to fill a House vacancy in Colorado history. Moving on, more than a third of Denver voters say taxes are way too high, according to a poll released shortly after Mayor Mike Johnston and his allies unveiled a plan to increase sales taxes. The poll from the Colorado Polling Institute said 29% regard taxes as high but acceptable, while about the same number, 27%, view taxes as about right. Arguing $100 million more annually is necessary to build thousands of affordable housing units, Johnston and some of the council's most progressive members are pushing for a 0.5-point tax hike, the second sales tax increase that Denver's elected officials want voters to pass this November. If voters said yes to both measures, the city's sales tax would become the highest in all of Metro Denver and northern Colorado, nearly rivaling the state's resort towns. The new poll said about half of Denver voters approve of the direction the city is heading and hold a positive view of Johnston. From around El Paso County, 13 Colorado Springs area Safeways would be sold and taken over by a new owner as part of a plan by Kroger and Albertsons to sell hundreds of stores nationwide, a move the grocery chains hope will help stave off court challenges to their planned $24.6 billion merger. In Colorado, 91 Safeway and Albertsons stores out of 105 will be sold to New Hampshire-based CNS Wholesale Grocers, which operates the Piggly Wiggly and Grand Union supermarket brands. Up to now, the number of stores to be sold as part of the Kroger-Albertsons merger was known, but the list released Tuesday spelled out exact locations. If you sign up to our email list, Engage will send you the Gazette article with a detailed list of all the Colorado Springs locations included in the sale. Moving on. The final smokestack came down at the Martin Drake's power plant on Thursday as crews continue work to dismantle the hulking coal plant that's dominated the southern portion of downtown for more than 50 years. It's also symbolic of utilities' shift towards renewable energy, such as solar, which now makes up 27% of the power Colorado Springs residents rely on. Independence Demolition, an Ohio-based company, is charged with the $20 million Drake demolition project slated to wrap up by the end of this year. Utilities is responsible for creating a brownfield site in place of the plant, meaning that once the structures are removed, any remaining contamination must be covered with layers of soil and vegetation. And lastly, Jack Briggs, president and CEO of Springs Rescue Mission, is stepping down. The Colorado Springs-based nonprofit announced Tuesday that Briggs, who assumed leadership in October 2020, will be leaving his position effective September 30th. Asked about his immediate future, Briggs said, "I'm going to spend time with my wife and my family." Those are your top stories of the week for July 8th through July 12th. Please tune in each Friday for your weekend review from Engage the Rockies. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe for more great content. If you'd like the full articles from the stories we read today, sign up to our email list at engagetherockies.com and we'll send you our show notes each week. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.